Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now. So I started a hangout on Google Plus specifically to talk about the price drop of HP's TouchPad. This has, I would say, overnight become the hottest selling gadget of 2011, and nobody can seem to get one. When less than a day ago, nobody cared. HP dropped the price of the TouchPad from about $500 all the way down to $99. I mean, for the 16 gigabyte model. And Geeks are snapping up the $99 model and the the $150 model, which is the 32 gig version. So I started the Google Plus Hangout with a couple people. Names may be familiar, faces may be familiar, who knows? Actually, a few minutes ago, and these guys can back me up, we had Michael Dell in the Hangout. Did we not, Creighton?
Oh yeah, we had him here.
He was here. Right, guys?
Yes, he was here.
Not that that proves that he was here, but he was here talking about it, and he gave us I think some rather good insight, and specifically talking about price points. What amazes me again is that nobody cared about it until the price dropped. So $99 for an HP TouchPad. Would you pay for one, knowing full well that HP is pretty much done with WebOS? I mean, for all intents and purposes, and the TouchPad is dead. I believe that for $99, this would make one hell of an Android tablet, and I believe they're active in forums already, seeing who can be the first one to put Android on an HP TouchPad. Did anybody find one today? Did you go out looking for one today? That's the question we're asking. So, Creighton, what have you found? Let's start with you and then move on down the line.
I started probably 6 or 7 o'clock this morning, and I called my local. We have 2 local Walmarts here and an Office Depot, and they all sold out within the first 5 minutes of the store's opening. I've also searched online. The only place where I can find it still available is Overstock.com. They're still selling the 16 gigabyte model for $396. I did call up the customer service though and ask if they could price match it. They said because they're sold out everywhere, they cannot price match it, but their team is working on actually getting that lower price. So probably later today is what he told me that price will drop. I don't know how much, but that's what I've heard.
So did you care about getting an HP TouchPad before the price dropped?
No, not at all.
Okay.
But now that it's dropped and I hear that you can put Android on it, I have an interest in it just because of that price drop, I believe.
Yeah, and I know some people are saying, well, they didn't have the apps. Give them time. But to enter a market where pretty much the iPad dominates, it's the iPad and everything else, the only way you can really compete if you don't have the apps available is going to be on price. Even if you're losing money on every unit shipped, at least HP could have had some kind of footprint in this market. That's been my perspective all along, and I think the market's responded, whether it's geeks or non-geeks. And I think, Darren, you said that you had actually left the house today. Oddly, not odd. I don't know if you leave the house regularly. But, I have not left the house today. It's sunny outside. I'm afraid I'm going to melt. You saw people in line. I mean, did they look like geeks or average consumers?
No, in fact, I found that overwhelmingly they were not geeks, in my opinion. I had a rather tragic story this morning where I went to Walmart and there was several on the shelf, and I asked for a price check, and they said they wouldn't honor the price. They were going to sell them at $400 or $50 or whatever they were. So I left the store and headed to Best Buy, and they told me, well, they weren't going to sell them. They were going to send them all back to HP. So then I went back to Walmart and checked again, and they were all gone. They had lowered the price, and the time it took me to go back and forth, and I lost out. And I searched high and low to all the local stores here, and I couldn't find them.
So before today, did you want to have an HP TouchPad?
No, in fact, my whole setup is Mac, and I have an iPad, and I had no interest at all. Although I was very interested in the OS, I liked the operating system. I thought it had a lot of cool innovations, but no interest.
So was it only because of the $99 price point, or?
Yeah, I thought it would be an opportunity to get some new technology that I could look at, and maybe give my wife something to look at the internet with. Have a Kindle reader for $99. a lot of opportunities, I thought,
Wow.
for 99.
All right, and over here we have Ryan, and I'm looking at the little thumbnails. Ryan was bringing up some interesting points before the recording, and I don't know if you care to throw in your perspective and your thoughts on the matter.
Well, I was saying that I imagine that Geeks would be really, this would provide the impetus for Geeks to go out and buy this thing. I wasn't interested in buying one, still not really, honestly. I'm waiting for the iPad 3. I just read a bunch of cool stuff about the Retina stuff, and I was excited
Well, that's just a rumor. I mean, you can't really purchase on rumors.
Yeah. But it's an iPad 3. I've actually not bought a touchpad yet. But I think another thing that this is going to be able to do for HP is get their foot in the door with their tablets, because now that a lot of people will have it, they'll have the ability to become, evangelists. I hate using that term, but evangelists for their products, and then the next generation of Microsoft touchpads, whatever they try to do. And I don't think that they're done. I know that they're like, yeah, we're pulling out right now, but I think if they get enough good
HP?
HP, I'm sorry, HP. HP says, we actually did pretty well once we lowered that price. So we've got our foot in the door. We got a lot of people who trust our product now. Now we can start pushing out more stuff. Now we've got consumer trust. We've got people who like it. People.
Well, wait a minute. I don't know if they'd say consumer trust. I mean, because they've dropped the product, and never has it been more popular than when the price dropped. So HP's pretty much like disconnecting themselves. But honestly, they need to respond. They need to do something. Whatever it is that they do, but this demand I've never seen before, because largely of that price drop. That people are getting out of the house. They're thinking about getting a product that, again, a day ago it was just like, eh. I don't know. Is Jeff? Did you just pop in, Mr. Geekazine himself?
Yes, I did.
Although I'm having issues getting you coming live. It's like you're there. You go. Okay. No, I was selecting and deselecting to make sure that your icon came up.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Did you have an HP TouchPad before today?
No, but I went to Best Buy at like 10 o'clock this morning to find out that they weren't going to be selling me one. Really?
Wow.
Yeah. Stopped by Office Depot, stopped by Staples, stopped by Office Max. I missed the last one at Office Max by like 2 minutes or something.
Oh my goodness. So you wanted one. Why do you want an HP TouchPad now?
Because it's $99.
HP, are you listening? Oh my goodness. I've been arguing this forever. If you're going to compete in the same space as a product that obviously leads, the iPad, you can only truly compete on price. Features, web browser, email, Angry Birds, the apps will come. Geeks want your product. Obviously, more than they ever wanted it before. They want it because of the price. Even if you lose money, you are gaining a gigantic community. Am I wrong, guys?
Totally right.
I agree.
I don't know. It boggles the mind. Anybody else care to throw their 2 cents in here before we wrap it up?
Well, one of my hopes was that if I was able to get one and enough people were going to buy them, which obviously they are, given the price break, that there would be maybe some third-party support for the device. That maybe an app store of sorts would show up on the web that would do to the web OS.
That might not be all too unusual because there's a lot of websites out there. One I can think of right offhand is a website called WebOS Roundup, which it's basically a bunch of web OSers that have pretty much put their life into this web OS, and they don't want to see it going. I could see this going underground and taking a movement that way.
Well, if you guys remember BOS,
Yeah.
that lived on, and I think it's actually still alive. At one point in recent years, you could actually download like a VMware image and install it as a virtual machine. Wasn't much to see there, but maybe HP can take that direction.
So, Jeff, what you were saying is maybe it's going to develop a cult following due to the amount of people who are suddenly owning it.
Well, the first thing is WebOS is not dead. What I'm guessing is going to happen is they're going to port it over to the server area. It actually makes a lot of sense taking the PC area, and you can't take the tablet and keep it in the server area. So you discontinue it so they can move to either a Windows 7 platform or a Android platform. Now, on the server side, you still have WebOS, which I always thought was going to actually enter into printers, that was going to enter into servers and smart devices like refrigerators and washing machines and stuff like that. So they use that for that end of things, and it's not going to die on HP's end, and they still can get a Windows 7 tablet or an Android tablet, whichever one they decide to choose, and still have WebOS. I think it's a win-win for HP. Just doesn't look like it right now.
See, when I went out computer shopping with my parents, they were constantly looking at price. And I thought, well, why doesn't HP bundle a touchpad or a WebOS device with a computer? And even if, say, that computer was $100 more than that computer from another brand, one computer versus the other, but this one, the HP one, comes with an extra tablet, I mean, most consumers would look at it and go, well, that's only $100 more, and I get to take this with me? You know, whether it's a desktop machine or whether it's a notebook computer, it's not just perceived value, it's actual value. And I can tell you that's something that would absolutely interest consumers. If ignoring the price point, because they're obviously, not going to make money with the actual hardware, selling it at $99. They will lose money, so they're trying to recoup it right now. But if you're trying to gain a foothold in a market that is saturated with clones, because like I said, went computer shopping, and I can't even tell you how many different brands were sitting there on the store shelves, which is where my parents still prefer to buy things. They couldn't tell the difference between any of them. None of them. Other than this one was cheapest, or this one seemed to have a better price. That was it. So throwing that value in there, it's obvious people will pay a premium for products. Look at Apple. That's their entire market. So, if HP gives consumers more than what other manufacturers are giving them, forget the printers are, to me, I've got like 4 printers lying around here. I can't get rid of them. Like, they're useless, but they make money in the printers by selling the ink. So HP has to figure out a model where they can have ink, if I can, turn that into a generic phrase, for their touchpad. They have a chance. I mean, this is huge. They're going to sell out of every bit of their inventory. Guaranteed. People will make more money selling these things on eBay. And I think Creighton, before he left, was saying that he saw them on eBay. People are going to make more money with the HP TouchPad now than HP could sell it for a day ago.
There was one up on Amazon for $3,599.
What?
It's not worth that much, people.
No.
Sorry, nothing is.
So it might be a smart move on HP's part then to just maybe license WebOS and get out of the hardware business altogether, which sounds like that's the direction they're heading. And I agree with the whole refrigerator and stove and microwave thing. I mean, that's a great way for them to go.
Embedded devices. I believe that was the future for Android as well. And so seeing it show up in Google TV, the Android operating system, and I've said it before, but the Google TV has been the best TV I think I've ever owned. They sent it last year as a review, and I was like, this is pretty awesome. Because the interface is really easy to navigate on the consumer electronics device compared to every other TV that I've owned. It's a really good experience, or it's better than anything else that I had tried. And consumers expect different these days.
You have the actual Google TV, or you have the Logitech one?
I have the Sony. I don't know the model number, but they sent the whole thing along. I'm like, this is pretty cool. Navigating is a snap.
Yeah, I'm thinking about actually buying the Logitech one of the Google TV, but I wasn't so sure.
If you can get it for cheap, I say it's worth it. I mean, and it's not that these are closeout prices because they're it's bad hardware, bad software. It's just they're reacting to a market that they were expecting to go a different route, or they couldn't line up a certain amount of partnerships in time for it to catch fire. But in a flooded space, I mean, consumers constantly look at price, constantly. And if you're fighting a juggernaut that they're not afraid to pay $500 for an iPad, but that does not mean that they're not going to be afraid to pay $500 for your product. Sorry, I think I'm finished pontificating now. Ish.
It sounds about right. I mean, that's how Roku survived, by undercutting what Apple does. It just makes the most sense to have a $200 to $300 tablet, and now the biggest competitor right now to an iPad would probably be the Color Nook, because it's only $250.
No, that's not true. The biggest iPad competitor is the next iPad. It's the next iPad. That's the biggest iPad competitor.
TouchPad. $9 na lang. Oh.
So Phil, you're saying the iPad is facing a situation that Chuck Norris was the only person who could shave his own face?
Yes.
Yeah.
And apparently I've lost my... there we go. Sorry, I lost my mouse cursor for a second. I have big screens.
But as we're talking, competitor to an iPad, not being the iPad being the competitor to iPad, the next model down, or the next device down, would be the Color Nook.
Right, for an affordable Android tablet.
Exactly.
And I think, potentially that's where the TouchPad could fit in. Someone, as I said, had offered me, they'd found two. They got a $99, $150, and they offered me either one. Probably going to take them up on the offer, just because, I'm looking for a good Android tablet. And, that price point, you just can't beat it. For me, that's impulse buy territory for gadgets. So anyway, thanks everybody for joining me. When news like this happens, it's fun to do hangouts instead of just me talking into the camera, because we've all got perspectives. My bigger question for the greater part of the community watching this is, what do you think? Were you interested before? Are you interested now? Why? What's the bottom line? Is it price point? What should HP do from here?